Hi, and welcome to my kitchen again. We're continuing our investigation of cooking with wine from all over the world. The greatest cuisines in the world have always used wine, and in my opinion, one of the greatest of all is that of Italy. And if you investigate Italian food historically, you'll recognize three ingredients that seems to have been with them forever. One, of course, olive oil. Two, garlic. You knew I'd say that. And three, wine. The tomato came later. It came from this country, as a matter of fact, from at least from Central America, and went to Italy within the last 200 years. So the tomato sauce that you and I normally think of is rather new. But garlic, wine, and oil, they've always had. And please don't think that wines from Italy simply boil down to nothing but Chianti. That isn't true. The wines from Italy in our time, well, they're simply gorgeous, and there's a vast selection of them. Delicious wines that will help you with all kinds of meals, and certainly with your cooking. You can see sweet wines and dry wines, Verdicchios, all kinds of wonderful things. Fine Chardonnays, Orvieto, Barolo, wonderful things. And I want you to taste these and celebrate. As a matter of fact, Italian wines are really probably one of the best wine buys you can possibly find in our time. They're much less expensive than you think, and they have incredible quality. So if you're already Italian, pat yourself on the back. Pour yourself a good glass of Dolcetto or Orvieto and enjoy. If you're not Italian, I'm very sorry. No, I'm not Italian either. I'm Norwegian Italian? No, just Norwegian. Now, when you pour the glasses, today we're going to talk about glasses for a minute before we start cooking. When you pour wine, you can choose all sorts of glasses, and I brought out my selection. These first 4 or 5 are champagne glasses. This is a beautiful trumpet glass, you see, and this is the flute. And this silly little thing that tips over and splashes wine all over the place is supposedly to have been molded on the breast of Venus. But I hesitate to even talk about that because everything, well, it doesn't work. Don't use these for anything, certainly not champagne. This is a great Beaujolais glass, and you can move along. I think these are probably the 2 most practical glasses that you can have in your kitchen or in your house. The rest of them are kind of fun to have, but they're not a necessity. Fancy ones, little sherry glasses, find you a brandy snifter. And isn't this one a kick? This is from a French bistro. And that's how you have your wine in a cheap French bistro. And the last one, this is a Greek wine glass so that you can pour plenty of ouzo into it or plenty of retsina, wine with resin, and have a good time. Now, let me heat up a frying pan. We're going to start cooking Italian style with wine because it has to be. I'm going to move these glasses out of the way so we can function. The first thing that you want to think about in Italian food, I know that you've already done this. You think about garlic bread all the time, and we don't do a very good job on that in this country. So I want to show how they do it in Italy. It isn't at all the same kind of thing. Boy, what a mess I have today, huh? Glasses everywhere. Now, we're going to prepare something called bruschetta, which is very simple to do and very extravagant and utterly delicious. First of all, toast your bread. Let me show you the kind of bread I mean here. Cut bread into about 1-inch thick chunks, and this is good Italian bread. Good crunchy Italian. You can use a French sourdough if you like. You see how nice and thick that is? That's what I want. I want bread with body. Don't buy that puffy, blown-up American stuff that they make out of air and about 1 ounce of flour. We don't need it. Good stuff. All right. Now, I have toasted, better get a platter here for us. I've toasted 2 slices of this wonderful, thick, sliced bread, and I'm going to rub them with garlic. You just grab a clove of garlic, and you rub it until the thing disappears. That's how you make bruschetta, real Italian garlic toast. There. And then you add, watch this. This is so much fun. Then you simply pour olive oil on the top. Just trickle on some olive oil. And this is served hot, of course. This makes a classic meal. There. It is served. You can live on this stuff. This is served along with a great salad. We'll chuck the old salad in here. A great salad, the bruschetta, or toast, olives, and of course, a glass of wine. And you have a full Italian meal. You could live on this stuff. And it's delicious. And it's very good for you. Now, let me show you. So do the bruschetta. I think you'll love it. Channing and Jason and I and Patty, we sat down one night and the 4 of us just gobbled up a whole loaf of bread with this stuff. It's wonderful. Now, let me show you how to make a quick Italian gravy. This recipe was sent to me several times by some of you who view and who cook with me, and I'm very thankful. I can't give you all of the names, but this is a variation on some recipes from southern Italy. I suppose it, if I'm being polite, but understand I'm trying to be, this is really basic peasant food in Italy. It's a tomato sauce, but it's made in a very rich manner, and you use it for everything. That's why they call it gravy. So we will begin right away with some olive oil in a hot frying pan. My pan isn't quite hot enough yet. We want about 1/4 cup of olive oil. And to that, we're going to add a couple of yellow onions, all chopped up. I'm not going to bother to show you how to chop up an onion. I'd rather cook. We'll do that at another time. Two yellow onions chopped up. And we're going to add 6 cloves of garlic. And I'm just going to dice it out here. Well, this has already been diced up for me. This is chopped enough. 6 cloves, that's about 6 cloves. All right, we'll throw in some more. You can't put too much garlic in these things. It's impossible. We want to brown the vegetables. That's important. And we want to throw in some carrots. This is one big fat carrot. Isn't he gorgeous? How did I get it cut up like that? Let me show you. I just dare you to watch. I have a gadget. I always have a new gadget for you, right? This one, it's called a mandolin, and it has a little series of tiny blades, so that when you want to slice things, you see, it will turn them into little sticks immediately. Isn't that a riot? I used to work for hours on this sort of thing. You just don't have to do that anymore. It's very inexpensive. It's around $20. You should find them in any good gourmet shop. And let's see, I've forgotten something. Celery. I want to put in some celery. And I'm going to chop up the whole works on a celery head, or celery leaf. Excuse me, there was an argument with one of you in a letter. Madam, this is not a stalk of celery. This is a rib. The whole head is called a stalk. The stalk is not called a head. At least that's what my produce man tells me, and I'm going to stand by him. So I'm... Keep writing, though. I'm not going to turn you down. That was very interesting. She was very adamant. She said, you should know better than to call that a stalk. Well, it isn't a stalk. It's a rib. I'm not going to call it a stalk. There. A little bit more. Anyhow, we want a good stalk of celery or 2. Let's try 2, huh? 2 stalks of celery into a very hot frying pan, the olive oil, the garlic. We're going to saute that until it's brown. Now, I don't have time to do that because I want to cook with you. So we'll just continue and we'll go on with the rest of our vision here. And I need a kettle. Well, now, while that's cooking, we'll put together, isn't this wild? These kettles, I'm going to be cooking in stainless steel, and I've told you that I hate stainless steel because they're always so thin, but they're bringing these in from Italy now, and it's called, what's the name? Called Centurion, and it has a jacket of aluminum inside the bottom so that it will keep things from burning for you. And I warn you, this stuff's very expensive. But again, I tell you over and over again, don't buy cheap cooking gear because you're going to have to keep replacing it. Thin stainless steel pans, even if they're electroplated with copper in the bottom, are still going to burn on you. This will not. It's a good thing. All right, I want to put into my kettle here. We'll begin with the tomato puree. Now, if you don't have access to a puree, just buy a 28-ounce can of tomatoes and canned tomatoes and run them through the food blender or the food processor. So let's begin. Notice I'm using a wooden spoon. I don't want anyone to bang on the edge of my good pots with a metal spoon. Nobody. There. 1 can of tomato paste. That's a 6-ounce can. And 2, well, I've got these all over the place. 2 28-ounce cans of tomato puree. And so far this looks to you just like a batch of normal tomato sauce, but it's not. It's going to be very rich, and then we're going to use it for all sorts of wonderful things. Italian gravy. This is common in Sicily. It's common in the southern regions, you see. It's wonderful stuff. They have brought the tomato sauce to absolute glory. Nobody in the world can do it this well, or better, I should say. Now we want to add 1 quart of beef stock. Now you remember that I've made this myself. You can use canned bouillon if you like, but I would prefer that you use good beef stock that you've made from scratch. Now, 2 cups of wine. I'm using red wine. And please note that my pitcher is a gimmick to disguise the fact that, that I'm using jug wine. Good red jug. It says in vino veritas. That's Latin. You know, this is an Italian show today. Latin for in wine there is truth. Do you believe that? In vino veritas? The Jews say it differently. I'm adding 2 cups. There. The Jews don't say en vino veritas. They say, little wine goes in, little truth comes out. That one I know to be true. Absolutely. There. All right, the vegetables are just about finished here. So we'll continue now with, let's see, what else do we need? The parsley. We'll throw that right in the kettle. Half a cup of chopped parsley. Oh, about a half pound of mushrooms. And I've just kind of quickly sliced these up. Nice fresh one. Aren't they gorgeous? Why not throw the whole one in there? See who wins. Whoever gets a whole mushroom gets a prize, huh? And we'll add our vegetables now. There. You see when they're sautéed, you see the sugar that is browned on them? The sugar is natural in carrots and celery, and we want to bring that sugar out. It makes a wonderful flavor. And it really makes a great difference in your cooking. What else do we need? Now we have a whole series of herbs that we want to put in this. And we have, I just measured these out so we don't have to stand here and play with the jar. I have a half teaspoon of red pepper flakes, crushed red pepper flakes, a tablespoon of oregano, a teaspoon of rosemary, 2 bay leaves, a tablespoon of basil, 2 whole cloves, and now you're going to say, that wasn't a tablespoon of oregano. You're right, it certainly wasn't. Well, it's supposed to be. He put in a teaspoon for me. Someone else was helping me in this step. All this goes in the pot now. The oregano, red pepper flakes, rosemary, bay leaves, 2 whole cloves, right into the pot. And now then we'll add to that some black pepper, crushed black pepper. Please add quite a shot. I'm going to put in a good half tablespoon. Good heavens. Well, and I've just ground this in my Turkish coffee grinder. Did you see me use this before? It works great. I just love the thing. Now, to that we will add a bit of salt, probably a couple of tablespoons, because you really do have a large kettle here. It's going to cook for a while. And then we're going to add just a pinch of sugar, approximately 1 teaspoon. There. Now, the deal here is what we're going to do next. And that's to add some pork neck bones, about a half pound of pork neck bones, and about a half pound of chicken scraps. And I have some necks here. Those are both very inexpensive. You shouldn't pay any more than 49 or 59 cents a pound for either of those. Cover this and simmer it now for 2 hours. And let me show you what you get. Very close to heaven. I'll get this one out of the way because obviously I have one already prepared for you. Let's see how it looks. Are you ready? Well, I'm ready. Here is the pot. Oh, this is so delicious. This is so delicious. It is so rich that I can't believe it. Now, let's try to use this properly in a dish. You can use it just like this, of course, on pasta. It's very rich because you've cooked the pork and the chicken together for 2 hours. Take those pieces out, by the way. You don't want to serve them. They're pretty exhausted. You know, they're pretty worn out after cooking for 2 hours. They've flavored, they've done what they're supposed to do. So you can get rid of them, feed them to the cat, or let them sit for a bit and eat a private lunch just for you. Now, I have some chicken gizzards, and don't go squawking at me yet, because if you haven't tasted chicken gizzards cooked properly, you haven't lived. I just love them. I'm going to saute them. Chicken gizzards, I want about 2 pounds. Chicken gizzards are part of the digestive tract of the chicken. They're a very tough little critter, but if you'll do this, if you'll follow my instructions, you'll have a very tender dish. First of all, saute the 2 pounds in 1 pound batches, along with a little bit of garlic. A couple cloves of garlic I have 1 pound in here, so I've just sauteed, you see. A couple cloves of garlic and about 2 or 3 tablespoons of olive oil. And when you're finished, we'll put them all in a pot here. I'm ready now. I have 1 batch already and 1 pound already in the pot. And here's the 2nd pound. Now to that, we're going to add, get the olive oil in there and the garlic. We're going to have to cook these down now, and it's going to take a while. So I suggest that what you do is to add 1 cup of dry marsala. This is a wonderful spicy Italian wine. 1 cup of dry marsala. There we go. And then we're going to add 1 cup of water. Just plain old water, so that the gizzards can cook for a while. Simmer them with the lid on for anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half. Got that? An hour to an hour and a half till they become tender. Now at the end of that time, after you use the water and the marsala, at the end of the half an hour or the hour or up to an hour and a half until they're tender. Then you simply add, and this is the fun part. Let me get a ladle out here. We want to add 1 cup of Italian gravy, just right out of the pot. This is our special, you see. And this doesn't have to be hot. You can have it in the refrigerator. Add 1 cup of Italian gravy. And our special flavoring is going to be a chunk of lemon peel. A 1-inch chunk of lemon peel. You see, just take the outside of the peel. Don't cut down onto this white pith. Well, I blew it. I don't want you to cut that. Can I try again? Do I get a second chance? You're so nice. There. See, leave the white on the lemon because it's the pithy part is, what do you call it? The pithy part is bitter. Did you get all of that? Okay. Now, we are going to add some salt and pepper to the bowl, to our gizzards. And for goodness sake, put in lots of pepper on this one. And let that simmer for another, 45 minutes or so. And let me show you what you have. I have it in the oven. I think I can find one in here. Yes, there's one. Boy, is this oven packed out today. This is very versatile sauce. You can do all sorts of good things with it. There we go. Okay, now we're ready. Are you ready? This, Aui, this is what it's to look like. Now, they've cooked for some time, and they're very, very tender. And they'll do well. I'll put them over pasta. Let me just put them on a regular plate right now. These would be wonderful over pasta. They're very tender, very, very rich. I eat them like this at an Italian restaurant in Tacoma called Bimbo's. And it's an old, what would you call it? Old Brooklyn backstreet Italian place. It's really very nice. The food is not complex. And remember, we said we're cooking a lot of peasant food today, and that's precisely what we're doing. Chicken gizzards in Italian gravy with marsala. Though we didn't use much gravy. Very little, you see. There we are. I need to add some cheese to that, just because I'm always in the mood for some good Italian cheese, which is grate a little bit over the top. There. And I would serve that along with a pasta course, perhaps. Or you could just serve them with salad for a summer meal. There. A little color to let you see them properly, huh? Chicken gizzard. Now, onward and downward. We're going to go on to ribs. There are 2 kinds of ribs, and I prefer the thick rib that they call a country style. You see how thick this is? It's a wonderful stuff. So what we're going to do is to cook this in the same sauce. And it's very, very simple. I have one all ready to go for you. First of all, I've browned 3 pounds of these rascals. You see? 3 pounds of them in a pot. And to that, we're going to add 1 cup of red wine. After we've browned them, right? After you brown them, add a cup of red wine and 1 cup of our master gravy sauce, Italian gravy, Sicilian or Southern Italian. There we go. And then we're going to add a piece of lemon peel again, just because I love the flavor of lemon peel. I think it's very helpful to the old tummy. And again, just try and get the outside, you see, not the pithy part. Put in the chunk about 1 inch long. Into the pot it goes. Cover that up. Let it simmer for about an hour. And look what you get. I hope I can find them. Let's see, where are they? Bottom shelf, bottom oven. Here we go. There. I know it's a lot of work to make the sauce. I know that. But once you get it put together, you can stick it in your refrigerator. It freezes beautifully. You can stick it in your refrigerator and know that you always have something ready to go. And you can cook spare ribs. Well, let me show you. You can cook spare ribs in nothing flat. Look how beautiful they are. And enjoy them on the top of pasta or anything else you like. Let me dish up a batch of these for you. It's a big batch, too. I just love this dish. Cook them until the meat falls off the bone. You know, that was my grandmother's rule. She always cooked everything too long, but at this point I'm going to approve of what she did. And you want to cook these until they're really thoroughly done and very flavorful. So out they go. Whoops, my gosh, all over the place. I'm burning my hand. That's why I'm trying to do this in too big of a hurry, but I want you to see all of these dishes. Isn't that attractive? Let's find a towel and clean it up. And then I can put it out for you. There we are. Actually, I eat the same way. You know, whenever I go into a restaurant, I always order 2 napkins. One for my tie, you know, to cover up my good ties, and then one for my lap. And I'm never embarrassed if the fellow frowns at me and thinks I'm some kind of a slob. You know, it doesn't matter. Put a little garnish on this too. A little green garnish anywhere in the plate will help, you see? And you can put some cheese on it if you like. I have in another pan, I have an Italian sausage. You see? Nothing to it. I've just browned him. And I'm going to put a little bit of Italian gravy on the top and cover him up and saute him for a while. I have one in the oven all done, ready to go. And I'll show you how that looks. This is just wonderful dish. Okay. You see, the possibilities of using this sauce are almost endless. Almost endless. This is one of those long sausages we buy here in Chicago. Oops. And it comes rolled. I didn't keep him rolled up in the pan here. Now this sauce, of course, don't throw this away. This goes on the pasta, right? Don't throw anything away. Eat it up. Use it. There. Oh. I don't think I've ever made this big of a mess for you. I think I'm really proud of myself. It's all right. It's all right. Remember the day that Julia Child dropped a chicken breast on the floor and picked it up, or was it an omelet? I don't remember. It was a classic anyhow. She picked it up. She said, nobody's watching. I think that's funny. Okay, one more. Let's try another one here. There. I'll burn off my arm. You understand the point now. Plan ahead with the sauce, and then you can do all sorts of good things. Now, the spare ribs are out. The sausage is out. We're set. What are we going to next? Let's try gizzards. Oh, I have one more I want to show you, and that's a dried cod dish. This is very, very strange, and I'll just have time to talk about it. We're not going to be able to do much. But if you prepare, you buy something called bacala, and it's a dried salt cod. It looks horrible, and it tastes awful, just plain. You can't eat it this way. You must soak this for a couple of days in water, changing the water at least 4 or 5 times. And you wind up with a meat that's very thick and very fleshy and rather delicious. And here's what they did in Venice. My wife and I had dinner in Venice a few weeks ago. And no, I'm not dropping names. I wanted to go back to Venice with that woman forever. You know, we'd never been to Venice together, and I hadn't been there for 25 years. I found a place, restaurant Raffaello or something. He cooks this. This is peasant food again. Today we're talking about Italian basic cooking. He cooks this in cream. In cream. After you soak it, drain it, you see, cut it into pieces, and he puts this into cream and cooks it for about an hour on the stove until it just falls apart. You know, my grandmother's rule, cook it until it falls apart, and then he serves it on torstini, a little crostini made of polenta, and I've already cooked some for you. The polenta, the recipes for all of these are in our second cookbook called Cooking with Wine, and this one, well, I just think you should try it. It's so delicious. And so unusual. Dried cod, of course, was bacala, as it was called, was made so that you'd have something to eat during the wintertime. And if you couldn't fish, you see, if it was out of season, why, you always had dried cod and you could make lovely things. This is also very good cooked in the master sauce, in the tomato sauce. Fish, salt cod cooked in tomato sauce? Absolutely. Why not? There you are. There you are. Today, good Lord, well, we've done it, I think. Today, we have prepared several dishes for you using a basic master sauce, or what the Italians call simply gravy. Not tomato sauce. Tomato sauce is much lighter. This stuff is so rich that you can eat it just as it is over pasta, but it's wonderful with other dishes. We prepared a salad in order to illustrate the fact that bruschetta, this lovely toast, garlic toast, is wonderful with olives and wine and a salad. That's very Italian. We did some gizzards in wine or in masala with a little bit of the sauce. We cooked an Italian sausage for you. The beauty here are the spare ribs. And then finally, the spare ribs in the master sauce. And then finally, a little bit of dried cod, bacala, that I prepared for you to put on the top of a crostini. Now, there's an old line in Italy, if I can find the parable for you here, because I can't remember it if I don't find it. Let's see it. Well, I may have to remember. Here it is. And it makes me feel very good because the Italians have never received credit for their contribution to the culinary world. They were probably the second greatest cooks ever. The Chinese, I think, were first. The Italians were second, and all of the rest of us came running on behind. And there's an old Italian proverb, it is Italian attitude. It says this: eggs of an hour, bread of a day, wine of a year, and a friend of 30 years. And I see some little old fellow in Sicily who's been eating at the same little table for 60 years with a glass of wine, and he's growing older and more beautiful because he drinks a little wine, increases his appetite, and lives on lovely tomato dishes in Italy. That's it. Enjoy yourself. Until I see you again, this is the Frugal Gourmet. I bid you peace. Bye-bye.